The image is simple. A man listens, then speaks, his voice steady, his posture controlled. But something flickers. A pause, a breath, a catch in the throat. And for a moment, the future king of England nearly breaks. This is not a scandal, not a confrontation, not even a formal announcement, but it may be something far more revealing, a glimpse into the human cost of monarchy. In a quiet video, released on a day meant to raise awareness about suicide and mental health, Prince William speaks with bereaved families. The topic is heavy: loss, grief, unanswered questions. But as he listens, nods, and eventually shares his thoughts, something changes. The voice tightens, his eyes lower, emotion climbs up his chest, and in that instant, the prince becomes someone else. Not the heir, not the public figure, but a man overwhelmed by the weight of the moment. This is where our story begins. Before we continue, there's something important to address. Many of you come here often, watching, following, seeking something deeper than headlines. But still, you haven't subscribed. If these quiet truths and deeper perspectives matter to you, subscribe now to Crownverse, where royal history isn't just observed, it's understood. The moment with William is not theatrical. There are no tears shed, no scenes played, but the restraint itself is telling. Because in the House of Windsor, emotion is currency and often a liability. To reveal too much is to risk control. To speak too openly is to shift the frame of monarchy from stability to vulnerability. William has been trained since childhood to walk this line, to be compassionate but composed, involved but untouchable. But increasingly, that line is fraying, not just for him, but for those around him. Behind the camera, beside the throne, and just beyond the public's view, a subtle transformation is unfolding. A generational shift, not just of power, but of posture. Where Charles once stood in waiting, William now feels the crown breathing down his neck. Not yet his, but close enough to feel its weight. And that pressure, long suppressed, is beginning to show. Some see it in his silences, others in his gestures, but for those watching closely, it's clearest in the small cracks. Moments like this, where a single phrase triggers a private reservoir of fear, grief, and expectation. The monarchy is changing, and William is being changed by it. Meanwhile, beside him, another figure holds firm: Catherine, Princess of Wales. Composed, poised, and endlessly public. But even she is not immune to the tides beneath the surface. A recent appearance in Northern Ireland saw a fan shout, "I love you, Kate," across the crowd. The reaction was brief, an unexpected smile, a flash of surprise. But the moment was captured, circulated, and dissected. Why? Because it reminded the public that even the most polished royal can be caught off guard. These moments don't make headlines for what is said. They resonate for what they suggest. That behind the palace walls, something stirs. It's not rebellion, not scandal, but it may be something more profound. A reckoning. A reckoning with identity, with legacy, with the unbearable expectations of public duty, colliding with private grief, personal trauma, and the irreversible pace of time. Charles lost his mother in the most public way imaginable. He grew up under the glare of scrutiny, and now, as his father begins to age visibly in the public eye, that slow inevitability, the transition of power, presses in. He knows what's coming, and he also knows what it costs. In moments like this recent mental health conversation, William is not simply speaking for others, he is mourning the parts of himself he has never been allowed to show, and perhaps never will. Kate, for her part, remains the monarchy's great stabilizer, but even her presence is part of the performance, a role played not for deception, but for protection. Together, they represent the future, but they are shaped by the past. And in that intersection lies tension. The pressure to modernize, to connect, to show empathy and authenticity, while still preserving the illusion of perfection, that the family is above the chaos it so often tries to contain. But the truth is messier. Behind the polished photographs, there are conversations unshared, struggles unseen, decisions not yet made. The monarchy is not a machine. It is a family, and one that for decades has endured the weight of scrutiny and secrecy. When William nearly tears up, it is not just about the families before him. It is about his own. The traumas inherited, the pressures passed down, the sense that no matter how good his intentions, the institution may never allow him to be fully human. And yet, he tries. In small gestures, careful statements, and public appearances that blend sincerity with duty, William is attempting to write a new chapter, one where vulnerability is not disqualifying, but essential, one where emotion is not weakness, but evidence of care. Still, the system resists. Tradition resists, and sometimes even those closest to him must resist for the sake of appearances, stability, or simply survival. There is a reason the crown has lasted this long. It adapts, it absorbs, but it does not forget. And those who serve it often find their inner lives reshaped by its needs. As the holidays approach, speculation rises again about who will be invited to Sandringham, who will be excluded, what photo will define the year. These questions matter not because of the answers, but because of what they reveal. A public hunger to understand the private signals of monarchy. And the most powerful signal this year may be William's silence, his restraint, his emotion. Because for the future king to nearly cry on camera is not a slip. It's a message, a reminder that behind every crown there is a man, and behind every ceremony there is a cost. As Charles continues his reign, the spotlight slowly shifts, not away from him, but toward the shape of things to come. William and Kate are not yet sovereign, but they are already symbols. And symbols, once exposed, cannot hide again. There are whispers, as always, of strategy. That William is being groomed to lead a leaner monarchy, that roles are being redefined, that old titles may be trimmed and new duties redistributed. But strategy alone does not explain the emotional undercurrents. For that, we must look to the quieter moments, the glances, the pauses, the almost tears, because in those details, the true story lives. This is not the tale of a scandal. It is the portrait of a man, caught between legacy and life, trying to carry a crown that is not yet his, but already casting its shadow. And beside him, a woman, equally committed, equally burdened, and equally aware that their future will be measured not just by tradition, but by trust. What happens next remains unwritten. But one thing is clear. The royal facade is not cracking from pressure. It is evolving from within. And in that evolution, we see something rare. Not collapse, but humanity. If you followed this journey, if you feel the weight behind the crown and the silence behind the smiles, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us here on Crownverse, where royal history isn't just observed, it's lived.